I haven't taken a single note in the last year. Now I just focus on what the person I'm talking to is actually saying, maybe think about what I want to ask next. And I just let my AI note taker handle everything in the background. So, what is Granola AI? At its core, it's a really simple AI note-taking app that runs quietly on your Mac or iPhone while audio is playing. It doesn't join your call as a bot, it doesn't ask for permission, it just listens to whatever your device can hear. Zoom calls, Google Meet, even in-person conversations, and then turns everything into structured Granola AI notes after. And when I say notes, I don't mean a messy transcript. I mean actual summaries, headers, action items, and key decisions. So if you're looking for a quick Granola AI overview, that's really the core of it. But quick note, just because it runs quietly doesn't mean you shouldn't tell people. In most cases, it's still better to let others know you're recording, especially in work settings. Now, the reason I even started using this was honestly pretty simple. I personally needed something like this because I run a small marketing setup and I'm constantly dealing with client meetings. I needed a way to actually keep track of what was said, especially what clients were asking for, without relying on memory or messy notes. And during calls, I wasn't fully present. I was half listening and half trying to take notes. That's what made me try a better note-taking app instead of doing everything manually. And just to be clear, this isn't something I tested for a day or two. I've been using Granola AI for about a year now across easily 200 plus meetings, client calls, interviews, even random conversations. So everything I'm saying here is based on actually relying on it day to day. One thing I didn't expect to use as much as I do is the search feature. I can just go back into old notes and instantly find things I talked about months ago without digging through anything manually. But I'll circle back to that in a bit because that's where it actually gets interesting. It's free to start, supports multiple languages, and works across different setups without needing much configuration. It also connects to different AI models like GPT 5.4, Gemini 3.1 Pro, and Claude Opus. Now, the more advanced models are part of the paid plans, but there's a simple workaround I've used. If you already pay for ChatGPT or Claude, you can just copy the transcript and paste it there to get better summaries or deeper answers. So even in a free AI note-taking app, you're not really limited. And to be fair, in one-on-one conversations, it works really well.
Let's get this interview started. Can you start by telling me a bit about your background?
Of course. I have 7 years of experience in cybersecurity, recently focused on cloud infrastructure at a large financial services firm.
But once you move into group meetings with people talking over each other, that's where it can struggle a bit with identifying who said what.
Make sure we got our pitch package ready to share here.
Ollie, do I have the latest version of this?
Hey,
Thanks.
how's everyone doing?
Hey, Timothy, how are you, man?
Hey,
Good to see
how we
you.
doing? How we doing? Nice to meet
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you joining on, man. I know we've been chatting on emails, but introduce myself. I'm Ali. I'm the marketing campaign lead for
That said, if it's a group call where mostly one person is speaking, it still handles it fine. I tested it on that viral Timothy Chalamet mock meeting video, the Marty Supreme marketing stunt. There's like 11 people on the call, but it's mostly just him pitching these ridiculous promotional ideas, like renting a blimp.
When I think Uncut Gems, Adam Sandler, Tiff, standing ovation.
And Granola handled it no problem. So the issue is really crosstalk, not group size. So if you're looking for a free Google Meet AI note taker or a free Zoom AI note taker, I've tested those built-in options, plus Otter AI and others. Granola still came out ahead, not perfect, but more usable than most if you're looking for the best AI meeting note taker or even just a reliable AI meeting recorder. I also tried using it with different languages like Japanese and French speakers, and it captured the transcripts pretty well. Now, it doesn't translate live though. As you can see, it just captures the language, but then you can just use prompts afterward to translate or summarize however you want, which is actually really practical. If you're a student reviewing a Japanese lecture in English later, or you're just not in an English speaking work environment that makes it way more useful than your typical note-taking app. But the part that really changed how I use this is what happens after everything is recorded, because it's not just storing notes. I can actually ask it questions. Instead of scrolling through old meetings trying to find something, I can just type, "Have we ever talked about this?" or "What did we decide about this?" And it pulls the answer instantly from everything, not just one note. And once I started using it like that, it stopped feeling like just another AI note taker and more like something that actually remembers things for me. Folders also make a big difference. I separate my notes for work, school, personal, and when I ask questions, it stays within that context. So if I'm in my school folder, I can ask, what was the homework last class? And in work, what were the action items from my last client call? Which makes it really useful for Granola AI for work notes and also for students organizing class notes. One thing you should know though, on the free plan, notes older than 30 days aren't directly accessible anymore. And when I first saw that, I thought, okay, that's a deal breaker. But here's the part that completely surprised me. Even if the note itself is locked, I can still go into the chat and ask something like, "Have we ever talked about X?" And it still pulls the answer even from months ago. So technically, yes, there's a limit, but in actual use, it doesn't really feel like one. And that completely changed how I look at the free plan. The first time I used it was honestly simple. Before a call, I just clicked quick note and let it run. After the call, I hit create smart notes, and that's when it clicked. It didn't just give me a transcript, it gave me something usable. If you're wondering how to see the whole transcript in Granola, just click show transcript here and you can copy it by clicking here. So if you're looking for a quick Granola AI tutorial, or trying to figure out how to use Granola.ai, that's really all you need to get started. And if you're wondering how to use Granola AI on iPhone, it's basically the same flow. Everything synced instantly, notes, folders, transcripts. So I didn't really have to think about where things were saved. The only thing that works a bit differently is phone calls. Instead of using your normal dialer, you actually make the call inside the app. You sync your contacts, allow it to use your number, and from there, it records everything automatically. Took me a minute to get used to, but once it's set up, it just works like everything else. There's also a whole world of options we don't have time to discuss in this video because you can connect Granola to tools like Zapier and automate all kinds of workflows. If you want a full breakdown, let me know in the comments and I'll cover it even better if you have specific workflows in mind. So quick summary, like what works? Stealth recording, actual structured notes instead of messy transcripts, multi-language support, the chat search across all your meetings, and that 30-day workaround that makes the free plan way more usable than it sounds. What doesn't? Group calls where people talk over each other, and phone calls requiring you to dial through the app instead of your normal dialer. But overall, it's the most reliable free option I've tested. And honestly, the biggest value isn't even the notes. It's the fact that it remembers things for me. I've been using Granola AI for a year now across hundreds of meetings, and it's one of those tools you stop thinking about. It just becomes part of how you work. You stop worrying about notes and just focus on the conversation. If you want to try it, the link's in the comments. And if you want a deeper comparison or automation setup, just let me know. I'll make that next.